Hello guys and welcome into another video, and today we got Fanatec V2 pedals that I've been using for the past 3 weeks. So I got these pedals on a Black Friday sale and they were absolutely a steal. So 199, and I don't even know how these pedals were going for 199. So we can route it up at 200, which usually goes for 299. So now the retail price of these pedals is 299 euros or dollars. It really again depends on where you live. So what do you actually get in a package, and if it's actually worth getting or not? So there are a couple of questions that I would like to answer today, and we will just get into what's inside the box. So in general, the pedals are inside the box, but also in the whole set you get something like this. First of all, I thought it was just about the cables and nothing much else, but then to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised with what I got in. So you got a couple of stickers, of course, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. Well, you got something like this, and not only that it looks good, it's very functional. So this is the first spring that you get with the initial pedals, so you can actually see them. So this is kind of a soft spring, very soft spring. You can easily press it with 2 fingers, and I thought initially that the pedals were not good enough, and I honestly thought about these are actually 200 euros pedal set, and they're probably not that great. So here we got a couple of springs. So I've got the medium option installed, but the original pedals do come with the softest spring and the softest rubber in here. So you have to change it if you want it to be a little bit harder or softer, and they can be adjusted according to your personal preference. And I think this is very useful. On top of that, you get a couple of cables. The cables that I haven't really touched because I'm using the same ones from the V3s, and of course you got a connector that's going into the PC, and you got the power that is going into the pedals. Or, well, actually it's not the power, these are actually just the connectors, and this is if you want to connect them to the PC. So basically, yeah, the usual stuff, and on top of that, I think we do get all of the tools that are necessary to change this stuff. So you get the tools. Why am I even mentioning this, and why is this so important? Is because with the V3s, the pedal set that is usually a lot, well, it's not that much more expensive, but it is 399. So the pedal set do not come with the brake performance kit. So basically the brake performance kit is pretty much the same stuff, but I'm gonna show it to you. You need to pay an extra 30, I think it's 25 to 30 euros more to get something like this, which is included with the V2s, which is quite absurd, because why would you make V3s more expensive? And in addition, you need to buy a brake performance kit if you want to get the most out of the pedals, while with the V2s you're actually getting that free, or if it's included in the price, I don't know. I'm not going to go into the structure of the pricing. So that's very interesting. That's the first thing that I noticed when I opened up the box, and well, I was really pleasantly surprised. Well, what is the actual purpose of this right now? So if we talk about the pedals actually have a very industrial, in my opinion, very simplistic design, which is, may be good for someone, may not be good for someone else. It really depends on what you like, and it really depends on your preference. What I do like to highlight out of all of this is that it's a nice solid surface. So basically, I think they could have added a little bit more grip to this surface, but I think it's good as the way it is. So it's a little bit too smooth in my opinion, although some people like that. Some people like to use shoes and socks with whatever you want to use it. But so definitely these rubber pads are making it very difficult to slip, and they have been much better than the CSL Elite pedals that I tried. So these are much better in many ways. I'm probably going to talk about that a little bit later. And what I really liked about these pedals is that if we flip it to another side, is that they're very adjustable. So you got 3 pedals, of course. We got the throttle, the brake, and of course the clutch. The brake is load cell, of course. The load cell is 90 kilos, so that's much more than you will ever need. And if someone tells you 90 kilos is not enough, No, it's more than enough, and you will probably be using like 20 or 25 kilos. That's about 50 pounds in total. I would like to show you why these pedals are so good and why why are they just functional. They are so functional that I couldn't believe how easy it was to actually change the rubbers in here. So we will go back to these two little parts. So you just have to put them in here, and then you just have to slide it. Well, I think it's gonna be a little bit harder because I'm using a harder spring, and then with these you just get it out. So this is a little bit harder now because I'm not using the softest spring, and this is, I believe, like the second hardest option. So now all you have to do to change something on these pedals now is to remove it like this, and that is pretty much about it. So that's the whole story. So if you want to change something, if you want to change these rubber pads, just easily remove them. You can see how easy it is to remove it. You remove them, you just put it back together. I'm just gonna go into the hole here, and then we can just move it. We can just once again move it. You can, by the way, you can use these, but usually I just use my hand and it was okay. But let's say for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna show you that you just need to slide it. You just need to slide it back in, and that's simply it. So if you need to change something on these pedals, for example, they come in 3 different sizes. Well, you got the 65, 75s, and 85s. I'm using the middle option, the 75, and you got the 65 that usually comes straight from the box as default with the pedals. So I never thought it was that easy to change them. And I was on the stream, and it took me, I think it took me 1 minute to change them. I think it was more like a pit stop rather than anything else. So it's incredibly simple. So we can flip it to a side, and that's what I'm going to show you, the full functionality of the pedal set. So what I found that was, once again, more interesting than the V3s is that they have 10 of these rubber grips. So the pedals don't slide as much. So you can use it on the floor, you can mount it on the rig, and I think with this pedal set they really thought about everything. So everything is easily accessible. Maybe the ports, the USB and the port that is used to connect the pedals to the wheelbase isn't exactly, I wouldn't say that it's located in the best possible place, but it's located on the bottom of the pedals, which is okay, although I think they should have been on the side and it would be much easier to reach. But then again, I mean, I guess it cannot be perfect about everything. So if you need to change something on the pedals, you got this little rubber, whatever it's called, rubber piece. This shows all of the necessary adjustments. So if you want to change each and every single one of these pedals, if you move them left to the right, if you want to remove any of them, it's quite simple. So you actually need to just unscrew these couple of bolts. So you got 2 bolts per pedal, and that's really about it. And that's pretty much about it. So I think about the design purposes and the design structure, I think this is one of the best that I've seen. So it's easy to change, and I think you will have to unscrew. If you want to change the distance, I think you will have to unscrew these 2. Yeah, remove the bolts inside, and then just these spacers are just going to go to another side. And now when it comes to mounting, I do have to say that they really thought about this thing. So with the V3s, you have to remove the whole faceplate, and then again, you have to go to the back, and then it just takes so much longer for you to mount the pedals if you have something like a GT Omega Prime. If you have a GT Omega Prime rig like I have, you might notice that there is no bottom side. So you just have to screw them from the up side. So basically there is no way that you can do it from the bottom. So you just need to go from this plate. So what they did about this was that they included 2 holes, first and second one. So whenever you want to mount something, you can see that it easily, well, this is demonstration purposes only. So this is actually going through. So whenever you need to mount something, you can quite see that if you have a screw that needs to be screwed in, so you can easily go through this hole, and that's pretty much about it. All you have to do is screw it in, and the pedals are mounted. Also, on the back side, or whatever you want to call it, here we got an additional 6 holes. I only used 4 because, well, actually I only used 2 because no one really needs 6 holes for mounting. Maybe if you have some, I don't know, some different rig, but if you mount it with only 2, it's not going to move. It's going to be pretty stable. So I mount them with these 2 holes, and yeah, it was actually quite stable. So once again, I'm going to flip it to another side so you can see the holes once again. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we got 6 holes plus the additional 2 that are in the front of the pedals, which are making the pedals, well, as stable as they possibly can be. I think they mentioned they want to use CAN connection for all of their future bases, and I think it would be nice if they used a CAN connection for all of their pedals. So it would be one serial connection instead of everything going into one controller like this one, and then again the wires are going out. So from the technical aspects, I don't think this would be that much of a big deal. It could be done. I think that it can be done and it should be done because it's really difficult to reach. I know they're trying to isolate this part a little bit more, but again, I think it's, well, it could be a little bit better on my side. But then again, it has a lot of pros and just a couple of cons. So you might like or you might not like this product or this design or whatever it is, but performance-wise, it was actually quite surprising, because I never thought it was going to be this good for such a price, and I never thought it was actually going to perform as the V3s that I was using. So I do have to say that maybe, just maybe, they were a little bit slower, maybe about like 50 thousandths literally per lap. So we will go into the driving test with these pedals and see how do they perform on the track. And yeah, now as we got to the driving section of this video, I do have to say a couple of things before we get going. If you want to connect the pedals to the base, you can do that. If you want to connect it to the PC, you can do it, but never connect it at the same time. So this can void the warranty and you can pretty much damage the pedal. So if the cable goes into the base like as it is now, and then the cable from the base is going to the PC, that's fine. If the pedals are not plugged in anywhere else and you're plugging them into the PC, that's also fine, but never at the same time. And now as we got into this Fanatec software, and this is, you can just go to the Fanatec website and you can download it, and it's pretty easy. And I'm just going to explain a couple of things that I usually do, and it just makes my life a little bit easier. So whenever I change something on the pedals, I always go to the software like this and I test it out where if I got any dead zones and if there is anything that I would like to adjust. Usually there isn't much, so I maybe just change the brake force a little bit, maybe 5 or 10% more or less. It really depends on what I change. But in this case, I don't think I'm going to be really changing much. So basically all I'm going to do in this one, I'm just going to show you how it works. So with the accelerator, once again, goes from 0 to 100. You can, of course, adjust the minimum and the maximum. If you want to, let's say, leave yourself a little bit of a gap that you always know that the pedals are going to go up to 100%. They're not going to get stuck at, let's say, 98, 99%. I always hate when that happens. You can simply go and put the pedals right about there. And once again, you need to click on the max button. And now this is going to become a maximum. So this is a pretty easy thing to do. And I always like to leave myself, like as I said, 1 or 2%. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. Same goes with the brakes. You can adjust the minimum pressure. I don't like to have that much of a dead zone, so I usually leave it as it is. So yeah, I just put my foot on the pedal, and if I see any inputs whatsoever, maybe like a 0.5 or 1% or whatever this is, I put the minimum down. So I will put the minimum, and now I'm not going to have any pressure on the brakes. So you can always adjust it. Same goes for the clutch. The clutch, I'm not using it that much, and I primarily focused on the brake and the accelerator. And this is pretty much about it, about the software. And now let's go to the driving. Okay, now we're gonna do a bit of this driving testing, and all I have to do is just to show you what I'm always looking at from a pedal set. So basically, whenever I'm new with something else of my equipment, I always try to do the following. I always try to do this little test. So I try to see where is the 25% of the brakes, where is the 50, where is 75, and where is 100. So this is sometimes very helpful, because I will always know where the, let's say, the 25 is, where the 50 is, and where the 75% is, and then I can get the good feel for the pedals like that. So yeah, the first thing that I always do with the acceleration and the brake pedal is that I always try to get 25, 50, and 75% of the brakes. Brakes. Third gear. Don't want to slide too much. Keep it, keep it, keep it. Oh. Want to stay in the track limits this time. Okay, got it. Just going a bit quicker, nothing too much. Slightly better than before. .25 again. Nice on the curb. The car was sliding a bit, but it's okay. And now you can see the gap. So now I just gotta finish the lap, and it's gonna be it. Yeah, much better this time. Let's cut it in. The car slides a lot. I guess it's fine. We'll see about the lap time now, and it is almost my best result. So it's a 21.4, almost a 21.5. But still, with this result, I think I can achieve, or was show you what you can achieve with this result. Basically, what I'm looking at with new pedals is if I can reach 25, 50, 75, and 100% of braking. If I can reach that and know at any given time, this is the position of my foot, I'm okay. So I'm gonna be fine, even if it's acceleration, if it's braking, or whatever it is. That's all you have to know about pedals. If the feeling is okay, I mean, I guess you will know if the feeling is okay if you can reach those areas. And those are the most important ones. If you know that, you pretty much know everything. What else is there to say about the pedals? I mean, I'm pretty much explained it all, I believe. And now, I think it's time to just to make a little conclusion about the pedals. If you're thinking about buying these pedals, my idea and my suggestion would be go with it. So it really depends on what you want, but for that middle range, or a little bit more expensive than the CSL or the normal CSLs, I would definitely go with these ones. They're much better in many other ways. So if in the end, if I need to give it a grade, I would go with 9 out of 10. Price-wise, they are 10 out of 10, because you're probably not going to get anything like this for 299. And even I got it on the Black Friday sale for 199, which is completely insane. And about the adjustability, you can pretty much adjust it. You can plug it into any kind of PC. They work with PlayStation, and they do work with any kind of Fanatec wheelbases. So I'm not exactly sure about the older ones, but with the GTD Pro that I'm using, and some of the other ones, they definitely do work. So yeah, I would say in the conclusion, they are definitely worth getting. I spent just about 3 weeks performance-wise. They were pretty great. I mean, I have nothing else to say about them except for, well, I wish they're gonna bring the V4s very soon, so I got something else to compare them to. So yeah, guys, I think this pretty much sums it up. If you got any more questions, please let me know down in the comments, or you might even join the Discord. So in Discord, we usually have a discussion about this. So yeah, just leave me a comment and I'll try to reply. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.